though, on the obstruction piece, because on one hand, again, you know, what I've seen so far in the report, what you're saying is that the special counsel says that we were not able to put together a case of obstruction. We didn't seek the subpoena because we thought we had enough evidence to make a determination. But then they didn't make the determination. Right. So there still is a piece of this that even though the special counsel's report explains somewhat of what they did with the obstruction, I still don't feel, and maybe when I read more details, I will feel more confident in understanding exactly why the special counsel's office didn't make its determination, unless it was because they were simply providing the facts.
Mueller also says in the report that another reason why they didn't seek out Donald Trump's testimony was that the legal delay would have just eaten up months. Right. That they didn't feel that they have. So it wasn't.
So they
just
would have had to weigh it. Yeah, so they were weighing the delay, which is very subjective, I think, that analysis. I don't know what you guys think, but I think that's 22 months. It could have taken longer, or it could have been expedited. Courts could have handled it in different ways given the gravity of the matter. So I feel like that piece
But it is important to point out
subjective judgment.
The Mueller report is saying the president's answers were inadequate. Those were solely answers on the issue of conspiracy or collusion. Nothing about, he refused to do even written answers on obstruction of justice, which is obviously a more fraught area, clearly, given what Mueller had found.
I really read that as meaning, I don't know what the other prosecutors think, but I read that as them feeling like we've got him in terms of the intent evidence. We don't need to interview him. Now,
they said his public statements and other stuff that already gave them an idea of what was going on.
Yeah, I think it was a closed book on whether he intended that or not. It's a separate question. Do you decide to indict or you follow the policy? But in terms of evidence, I'd look at that as saying, I don't need to interview the guy. I already got him.
And they said that. They said we had sufficient evidence to understand relevant events and to make certain assessments without the president's testimony, almost rendering it obsolete. Now, of course, I don't see it as obsolete. I'd want to be able to ask the follow-up questions, and after that's vetted by the lawyers and you have your necessary preface about your amnesia that you're supposed to have whenever a lawyer talks to you. But I can't recall this exact fact you're talking about. Well, then I want to follow up and say, oh, well, do you want to follow up in the receipts that you've actually talked about these issues? Let me refresh recollection in some way. So you're right. The idea that he didn't have to answer questions about this. And I agree with you, the assessment that they thought, well, I don't need this. But for the legal issue here of, look, we're precluded from being able to pursue anything. So, again, I'm teeing it up for Congress. Here you go.